We're going to make a kind of spacey lead tone that you can use in ambient parts of your songs. For me, this works a little bit better than traditional lead tones because it fits in nicely with the ambient soundscape kind of vibe. And to me, it's reminiscent of those synthy lead lines from 80s sci-fi films, which everyone knows was the pinnacle of sci-fi. And a love of sci-fi feeds a love of ambient music. Again, like my last few videos, excuse my playing, I've still got an injured thumb, it's making it hard to hold a pick. But the show must go on. I'm using my Kiesel A7, it's got Lundgren M7 pickups, I'm using the bridge pickup as a humbucker. Let's start with the amp and cab. Unusually for me, this is a Marshall based amp, but I found this worked really well for this kind of tone. There's something about the plexes and the Axe-Fx which I find work really well when you put a pitch shifter in front of them. In terms of the EQ, I took away a little bit of bass, boosted a little bit of treble and put the bright switch on. I brought the input trim down a little bit because I wanted to play with these two gain controls. You've got a normal drive and a treble drive. And I found that these settings gave me quite a smooth sound when combined with the compressor and the pitch shifter. For a cab, I went for this 1960B with a V30 in it, which is just a stock Axe-Fx one, and the high cut at 10,000. Let's hear that. It's not a crazy driven sound. What I like about it is it's quite clear, and when we start putting these effects onto it, it's going to be really crisp with the notes. And that's something you need to watch out for when you're using pitch shifters. It can get very muddy very quickly. Compressor is fairly standard. 4:1 ratio, 50 Hz on the filter. I brought the attack time all the way down. That's going to clamp down on the transient and smooth the whole sound out. Next we have a pitch shifter. It only has one voice active, which is an octave down. We're in fixed harmony mode, so it will just give us an octave below what we're playing. What I've done here is to put the mix at 0% and have an envelope that will bring it up to 49%. The envelope settings, I have the attack at 22 milliseconds. This means it takes a little bit longer for that lower octave to blend in with the original signal. So you don't get it exactly at the same time, it kind of comes in slightly after. It's subtle, but with the delays and reverbs on, it makes a bit of a difference. On the main path, we have a delay. I've gone for the analog stereo model. Quarter notes. The feedback is nearly 50% and the mix is just above 40%. I've turned the diffusion up to 100%, which means that instead of the delays being crisp and clear, they're going to be smeared into each other. That on its own would be a cool lead tone, but we're going to add a little something else. We've got a parallel path. I put a reverb on. Because it's in parallel, the mix is at 100%, and I brought the level down to -5, because that's where I want it sitting in relation to the delay and the main line. A deep chamber model with almost 7 seconds of reverb time. The EQ is quite severe. The low cut is 300, and the high cut is just under 3000. So only a very narrow band of EQ is actually coming through the reverb. And just for a bit of spice, I've got this phaser going into the reverb. So you should have a solid main line going into the delay and then a modulated one coming through the reverb. Rates on the slow side, it's a sine LFO type, and the depth is not quite full, it's at 9, but we're 100% mix. I've gone for the Phase 45 model. It's a bit more subtle than the Phase 90, and I find it's a bit more suited to ambient styles, because it's not an obvious phaser like an EVH style phase 90 lead. So there you have the basis for a cool ambient lead tone. You could use that over the top of a swelled atmospheric effect or over heavy rhythm guitars and it would sound just as good. The keys here are filtering the EQs in your reverb to make sure it doesn't get muddy, and using a pitch shifter with the octave down to give it that kind of synthy kind of vibe. And that's it for this patch. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.